Welcome everybody to We Trade HQ's YouTube channel. I have a clip today on supports and resistances, and rather than me explain it, I actually pulled it from one of our mentors yesterday morning. They went live, and in the midst of the conversation, there was a part where he discusses supports and resistances because one of the mentees didn't understand. So he goes through Etsy, and then he actually goes through Apple as well. So I want you to watch the video. And the disclaimer is you can't totally see the chart, but you can get the idea and the gist. What you can do to follow along is pull up the chart from Facebook, Thursday, June 25th, 2020. And it was pre-market. So pull it up and then see if you can follow along. But he does a very good job of explaining supports and resistances. So this video is Brad Smith, who's the CEO and also the mentor and day trader. I hope you enjoy.
Understand. Well, when I look for a resistance, I'll come back out here on the 4-hour chart. Actually, no, that 1 hour was good. So if I'm on a 1-hour chart here and I look at this, you have to see this play out a little bit. So if I'm looking at this and I see, okay, right here on Etsy at $95, it got all the way up there, and for some reason, it just couldn't get past it. Okay, so that's the first point. And really, if we brought it out to a 5-minute chart, it would probably be several points. But then it finally broke over that and actually tried to come back down and then bounced off of that. So you can see here, like it bounced off of this 95 and then came shooting right back up. I met another resistance here, but then sold off some, came back down to 95, then bounced again. Now, like a good rule of thumb is that usually when you want to see this bounce at least 3 times. Now on the 1-hour chart, you're probably not going to see that as often. So if we came out to, I bet you if we came to a 30-minute chart, you could see it a couple more times. So yeah, actually on the 30-minute chart, it came in and was acted as resistance twice before it finally broke up over that. So you have 1, let me zoom in so you guys can see that a little bit better. So you have 1, 2, 3 times on a 30-minute chart where you see it bounce off of 95 before ripping back up and staying above that for quite some time. And then you see this right now, that's where I'm looking at for a potential bounce from, because it has bounced off of this several times just a couple of days ago. And so, the selling pressure couldn't get it down below that 95, and we'll be more specific, this 95.65 area. And so that's where I would be looking for a potential area of bounce. Now, if it comes to 95.65, it doesn't mean it's a clear buy, right? You want to see some sort of confirmation that buying is returning. And that's what we saw back here, right? It came down to 95.65. We saw this nice looking green candle. And we can break this down a little bit more if we come down to a 5-minute and say, okay. So it came down here, it bounced off of that 95.65. 1 green candle, 2 green candles, that would be a really clear confirmation for me that it's bouncing off of that. And so then you buy in there, then you set your stop immediately. And I would put a stop just below, probably just below that support area, maybe about 95.55. That's how I would handle that trade. And that's how I would handle it here. If I buy in at 95.65, if it comes down there, I probably will end up putting a stop around 95.40. Now, it's a little bit different because I want to try to swing Etsy because I do see good longer term potential here. So I may or may not even think about a stop until it actually starts moving up and starts making some profit. But you can see it's actually getting bought up here quite nicely. But that's a pretty good example of support and resistance. And I think Apple probably will give you some really good spots as well. So when we come and look at Apple, this is why I was so dead set on 356 being a support for it. So you can see here, it came up to 356, got rejected. This is on the 4-hour chart, got rejected, came up to 356 again, got rejected and sold off, came up to it a 3rd time. So that is a very clear resistance here on Apple. And when a resistance breaks, old resistances then become new supports, and vice versa. So now that it broke over this very tough resistance, it becomes a new support comes a support for it. So we're looking now for it to come down to 356 and see if we can't see it bounce off of that to act as a support.
So what'd you think? Not that complicated, right? It's actually a pretty straightforward concept, but the confirmation is what becomes really challenging. If you can use this idea of support and resistance, it can help you become a better day trader and really be able to identify what your entry point should be and even your exit points and your stops. But this is a great starting point to understand supports and resistances and give you a better idea of how to execute better trades. So for more content like this, please subscribe to Retrade HQ, and thanks for watching.